Impossible is nothing really. You can do everything that you want to. You would fail a few times, but that doesn't mean that it's over. I hope that that piece would keep inspiring you today. Still ahead here on the AM show though, today on my banner we're talking about the Public Elections Regulations 2016, also known as Constitutional Instrument 91, CI 91. We've heard it a lot, but what are the little details in there? And why do the political parties seem to disagree on some of its content? All right here on the show. We're also talking the 9th World Malaria Day 2016 with the National Malaria Control Program. You've got to stay right there for the details of that. And I love my viewers. Somebody has sent me a beautiful message. Oh, it's from Hadji Pakis BKM. So Hadji says, I can see today you're alone, but I tell you, you're not, because we, your viewers, are always with you. And I love you for saying this. Thank you so much for being there. Thanks a lot. Roland is obviously not here today, but wherever he is, he has you at heart. This one says, good morning. You look nice this morning. And that's from Al Hassan in Bole. So thank you for all the beautiful words that you say to me. Now, let's do the Daily Graphic newspaper. Front page of the paper, President inaugurates 5th Community SHS at Chenderi, and that full story on page 16. Tipper truck crashes tricycle, killing 9. 2 judges dismissed. That's actually the banner headline in the Daily Graphic newspaper today. 2 judges dismissed. Back page, Wafa hold hearts in Accra. Dwarfs Techiman City and Latif Powers Liberty to victory. Benedict also will be here with a lot more sports stories. So let me do this on page 3. The judges who have been dismissed, and the story says that 2 justices of the High Courts, Justice Kofi Esel Mensah and Justice Francis K. Opoko, have been removed from office with effect from April 19 this year, which was 2 days ago. Today is 21st. President John Dramani Mahama, in a letter dated April 12, 2016, accepted the recommendation for their removal from office by the committee set up by the Chief Justice, Mrs. Justice Georgina Theodora Wood. The committee was set up to investigate the petition submitted by Anas Aremayao Anas of Tiger IPI for the removal on grounds of stated misbehavior. We're breaking this issue down. Fortunately, we do have a lawyer joining us on AM Talk, so stay on right there for all the details. Let me also touch on the story on page 20. It's a very sad one. Okay, where's page 20? About a tipper truck that's crushed about 9 people to death. I know that's not the story that you were hoping to, wake up hearing in the newspapers, but sadly this has happened. I'll read a bit of it for you. It says that 9 people on board a motor tricycle, popularly called a Zonto, died yesterday when it was crushed by a man diesel tipper truck near Mame Cherwa village on the Tepagos Road. 8 of the victims died on the spot, while the 9th victim was pronounced dead at the Tepakoko Hospital, where he had been rushed with another injured passenger for treatment. Now, here's a briefing from the police. The Bono Ahafo Regional Police Public Relations Officer, ASP Christopher Terrier, told the Daily Graphic that the tricycle was heading towards Kwapong with 9 passengers in its bucket, while the tipper truck with registration number AS512414 with 2 passengers on board was heading towards Kumasi from Dadia. So he said while the tricycle was negotiating a bend on the road near Mame Cherwa village, it ran into the oncoming tipper truck and got crushed. ASP Terrier added that the only surviving victim of the accident had been treated at the Tepa Koko Hospital and discharged, while the bodies of the deceased had been deposited at the morgue of the same hospital for autopsy. Really, really sad there. There's also another sad story you'll find in the paper. It says man buries wife in residence, claims has no money for funeral. I'll show you his face in the paper. That's him right there. So the story says that residents of Adariman, a suburb of Botsiano, Newtown, near Wajan, Accra, woke up to a report that a resident of the area had buried his wife at his house because he could not afford a fitting or a befitting burial and funeral for her. You can continue to read the details, but that's the man who says he didn't have any money for, the funeral, the burial, so he decided to bury the wife right there in the home where he lives. Rather very sad. All right, let's do the Ghanaian Times newspaper. Front page: security beefed up at Achimota School. 9 family members perish as their tricycle crashes with truck. NADMO is not ready. 2 more judges dismissed. Back page: Wafa hold hearts in Accra. Bichim halts All Stars and Kotoko silence Dreams FC. Mediama through to playoffs. Charlie, you scored Dreams FC, and that is like big news. All right, let me do the Chronicle before the Kotoko people come and pounce on me this morning. Front page of the Chronicle: 5 zombies torture boy 16 into coma. They will lash him. It says they will lash him and then the stick will break and they will go for different ones. And then the soldiers will sit and smoke weed and then continue the beating. Corporal Etuahene, it was an act of the devil. I think there's a confession, but let me get this story into a proper perspective for all of us to understand. It says it's on page 8 and 9 in the Chronicle newspaper. So here we go. It says that he was accused of stealing a mobile phone belonging to a soldier. With guns pointed at his head, he still tried to prove his innocence by denying any knowledge about the said mobile phone. But his accusers, 2 soldiers, would not want to hear any denial of a sort, but an outright admission. So for failing to admit the wrongdoing, or the wrong he said he never committed, a 16-year-old boy in Tamale, Christopher Bama, is currently in critical condition at the Nsawam Government Hospital after he was cruelly subjected to severe beatings and torture by 2 soldiers from the Tamale Airborne Force. Wow. Okay. Covers the whole center spread of the paper in the Chronicle newspaper this morning. This is more like an unbelievable story, but you can grab the paper and read the rest of the story yourself in the Chronicle newspaper. That's a 16-year-old who went through this abuse from 2 soldiers because they said he had stolen a mobile phone, which he denied knowledge of. Wow. Okay. We hope that the military will not set up a committee and investigate its own people and then either clear them or whatever it is. We have to find proper closure to some of these stories. We'll see how we can do a proper follow-up of the story for you. Let's move on to the Daily Guide newspaper. Akufo-Addo Nana Konadu, lives in danger. Tabia supported Tumfo Fund and 2 judges sacked. Let's concentrate on the story of Akufo-Addo and Nana Konadu, whose lives were told are in danger. It says that Captain Edmond Koda, retired head of security of the New Patriotic Party flag bearer, has sounded the alarm bell, warning that the life of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo is in danger as some people are planning to assassinate him ahead of this year's general elections. And his revelation comes at the time the former First Lady and National Democratic Party founder, Nana Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings, has also raised an alarm over a threat to her life. According to Captain Koda, the NPP flag bearer had been placed on the radar of assassins, for which reason he and his men were seeking to increase protection around the opposition party's leader. We'll continue this conversation during AM Talk, but details of that in the Daily Guide newspaper. So let's end with the Finder. Is it the Finder proper or the Business Finder? Okay, it's the Business Finder newspaper. Just before we check out what's making headlines, myjoyonline.com and City FM. Massive layoff to rock banks. IMF must be frank with assessment. Two major headlines you'll find on front page of the Business Finder newspaper. But this one says the information reaching Business Finder indicates that some banks in the country will undertake retrenchment exercise soon to reduce their high operational cost as a result of difficulties in the economy. This paper understands that two Tier 1 banks are almost certain to carry out this exercise since citing over bloated staff, a situation which is increasing their cost of operations. Certainly not good for the economy if this should happen. That's it for the newspapers. A few of your messages, and then quickly we'll see what's happening on myjoyonline.com. So this one says the soldiers must be punished severely for that devilish act. That's by Selom. Olga sending that message on WhatsApp. This one says, Abe from Mankasim, thanks for the nice things you say. Let's see. This one says, Mamavi, we all know NADMO is Natural Disasters Management Organization, which means they take care of natural accidents which befall or affect individuals in the community. But they rather spend exorbitantly on calculated accidents. An example is a dynamite explosion in a quarry which was meant to break the rocks, but because of human error, affected some parts of the community near Liberia camp near Kaswa. These are pure embezzlement of funds and a part of the 40 million per Kojo in wager. Sending that message. Okay, so now that you come back with the details, I kind of understand where you're going with your message. I thank you for the message though. Okay, so let's do myjoyonline.com. Let's see the stories that are making headlines. Police intercept Kumasi bound AK-47 ammunition. Also on the site, paternity suit, Catholic priest to be stripped of immunity. So a family court in Accra has directed the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to be served with a writ filed against a Catholic priest accused of failing to cater, I think, for a lady that he had impregnated. I was hoping the story wouldn't be true, but apparently, you can read the details. South Africa police fire rubber bullets to disperse protesters at Rhodes University. Also, myjoyonline.com, fuel prices remain competitive at Goil fuel stations. Power challenges to worsen as FPSO repairs miss 3 scheduled dates. The air we breathe, do you still believe it is invisible? That's a piece of opinion. I tell you what, opinions always at My Joy Online is interesting to read, so please find time and read. Anti-slavery activist Harriet Tubman to replace Jackson on $20 billion. What does it all mean? Kindly click on it and read details of it. And then finally, okay, so I think that's it. So crippled NADMO begs for support to manage disaster. We'll touch on City FM briefly. A Shaman NDC chairman escapes machete attack. A man accuses SEPS of stealing his goods at Thermoport. Ghanaians should be angry at BNI. Mustafa Hamid says so. Captain Koda slams BNI for detaining Nana Addo's. This should be his photographer and bodyguard, I guess. Okay, so before we go, let's do BBC Africa, and there's a story which is more like unbelievable. Zambia xenophobic riot, 2 burned alive in Lusaka. In like today's Africa, this is happening. 2 people were burnt to death on Monday during the xenophobic violence in Zambia's capital, Lusaka, police have said in a statement. The riot started after rumors that Rwandans were behind recent ritual killings in the city. The 2 were Zambian nationals killed in the confusion. That's according to the Home Affairs Minister. More than 250 people have been arrested after more than 60 Rwandan-owned shops were looted in 2 days of violence. The 2 Zambians had been burned with firewood and vehicle tires, according to police quoted by the AFP news agency. 6 people have been murdered since March and their body parts removed. And rumors circulated that the body parts would be used as charms to ensure success in businesses. This is Africa in the 21st century. This is more like something that happened in South Africa that got all of us worried. These are very gory pictures. Oh gosh, we certainly have a long way to go as Africans. Okay, so that's the review for you right there. If you're interested in any of the stories that you've seen, you can either go to the newsstands and go and grab the newspapers, or you can always visit the news websites. But foremost, make a stop at myjoyonline.com. Just before I make way for Benedict, who's got sports, this one says security officers will continue to do this because they go unpunished after such misconduct. You say. The soldiers should be arrested. McLean from Bongo, and the message is like you were screaming and telling us that the security experts have some information, so they should go out for whoever is behind this and stop the talking. That's from Cosmas, and this is certainly in relation to the fact that we're told, according to the Daily Guide newspaper of today, that the life of Nana Addo Akufo-Addo and Nana Konadu Rawlings seem to be under some kind of threats. Because apparently there are some people who want to assassinate them. The security expert, okay, Cosmas, I've read your message. This one says, good morning. Facts. The act of our security personnel at brutalizing civilians is becoming too horrible. They are not above the law, and I'm appealing to all concerned authorities to act fast. And that's from Nelson in Koforidua. I acknowledge all the messages that you've sent. I'll find time and share with everybody else. Stay with us. Benedict Ozadankwa. He's got all the sports right here on the AM show.